Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. This is Dragback from Pantheon Plus, and I'm here to do a Plus profile. A Plus profile is where I take gamers like myself and get a little bit of their gaming history and also what they're excited about for the upcoming MMO Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. Today I have JJ Piedra. I know him because we've been doing Rankum articles over on the Pantheon.plus website. So I hope that you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays, and onward and upward.
My character name is going to be Kaledine. Right now I'm leaning towards Ogre for my race, but the class is definitely going to be Dire Lord. Back when I played EverQuest, I was a Shadow Knight for 4 years, so after going to World of Warcraft and being a mage for 15, I kind of wanted to get back into the whole tanking aspect. And when I looked and saw what classes that Pantheon was offering, I saw they had a Dire Lord, which was pretty much close enough to a Shadow Knight, so I'm like, well, there you go. Perfect way to get back into tanking is pick up something I'm familiar with. I do. It is actually the Plus Guild, which is led by Minus over at Pantheon.plus. That was actually through a co-worker of mine over at a place I write for on the internet, and friend Keith is like, hey, did you hear about Pantheon? I'm like, no, what's that? So he hits me up the link, and basically I checked it out, and I saw it was an MMO developed by Brad McQuaid, and I'm like, that's all I need to essentially buy into this. So really excited to basically check out another MMO that is all about community and challenge and doesn't handhold you or anything like that. So yeah, I heard about it through my friend and been following it for about 2.5, 3 years now. Definitely EverQuest, mainly because it felt like tight-knit community. I played on the Valentzek server, so it was a PvP team server, and everyone there pretty much knew each other. And one of the unique things about PvP teams is that if you're like an elf, you can't attack other elves. If you're a human, you can't attack other humans, but you can attack other races that, you know, are not aligned with you. And there is I think an item called the Amulet of Necropolis, if I'm saying that right, where it turned everyone into a skeleton, but it also changed your name blue. So the only way to figure out who was to know that person, you know, that's been playing on that server. And so when you get into like a community like that and you know everybody, you know, some items like that just don't, you know, work anymore because you're so familiar with people in other guilds, and, you know, you always cooperate. We had like player-made rules and everything that, you know, if you died in a PvP zone, you would loot your stuff and leave for an hour. You know, it's like a little code of honor system that we all came up with, and it honestly was like the greatest, you know, experience I had in an MMO, and I'm hoping to replicate that in Pantheon. That one probably comes from World of Warcraft. There's actually two. First was when Burning Crusade was coming to an end, and they're about to launch Wrath of the Lich King. And they implemented the achievement system, and one of the achievements was to go around and kill all the faction leaders, but by that time they were all tuned to level 80. Our raid leader at the time, there was just basically on a weekend like, yo, let's go get our black warbears. And like, you realize that they're like over-tuned. So don't worry, we'll just get a whole bunch of people on the server, we'll go kill them. And even if we have to stack hit ratings so we can hit them, we'll do that. They'll eventually flop over and die. Like, okay. So we gathered, I believe, 2 full raids of 40 people, and we stormed pretty much every enemy capital. We had to fight off the horde once it caught on to what we were doing, but we eventually just went ahead and downed all of the faction leaders and got the black warbears before it was actually intended for us to do so. And then we came back, I believe, the next day or it was the next week or something like that to get the other raid group, which didn't get the tags, to get theirs as well. So that was actually one of the cool community moments I had on World of Warcraft. The other was in Wrath of the Lich King, where I actually took over as a raid leader for my guild, and we went from, I believe it was like 23rd on the server all the way up to getting a server first Lich King and putting that statue in the middle of Dalaran. So that was also another cool moment for me. So probably my 2 best stories that I could probably think of. I could tell you the ones I faced that I haven't beaten. Definitely Mythic Kill Jaden during the Legion expansion. We tried that and failed horribly. But I would say the one that we probably beat that was during the, I guess, the current time when it was actually, you know, not nerfed or anything, was probably Veilastraz and Blackwing Lair. That one was a very, very tough fight, and we used like a 5-tank rotation, and even on our 5th tank, we didn't actually have like a true tank. So we actually had him like tanking with a 2-hander because we knew he was last in rotation. Yeah, by the time like almost everyone had burning adrenaline and the whole raid was pretty much almost dead, but we finally were able to down him. And then by the time we tried to get through the rest of Blackwing Lair, that's when Burning Crusade was about to come out. And everyone's like, hey, let's go do Karazhan. And that was pretty much the end of that. But that was definitely a tough challenge back in the day. Our guild wasn't really like world first or cutting edge, so like a lot of the tougher bosses in WoW, they were just like stuff we tried, but we never really killed until they like nerfed it and made it easy for everyone to do. I was always a huge PvPer. That's why I played on Val and Zach in EverQuest. I loved the PvP aspect. Then after 4 years of it, I switched to PvE in World of Warcraft, and I liked the option where you could just, go in and out of it when you wanted to. Battlegrounds, Arena. Later on, they did the whole sharding thing where you can just turn on War mode and go into a PvP server. So I like the option to it because, the PvPer in me is still there, but at the same time, I'm not 18 years old anymore. I don't have, cat-like reflexes. It's something that I would like to do, but mostly now I'm just PvE, so I can sit back and enjoy a game and check out the story, explore things without worrying about getting a knife in my back. Both in EverQuest and here in Pantheon, I'm going to be kind of like a main for life. In World of Warcraft, I was an Altoholic only because of the limitation on professions. Of course, in EverQuest, if you remember, you can actually get all the professions. So there was no need to have alts for specific things unless you wanted to actually play a different character and experience it. In World of Warcraft, you're limited to 2 professions. So if I wanted to, make armor for my mage and I didn't want to be a tailor on my mage and wanted to do something else with it, I could always make an alt and do the armor and craft it there. So it was kind of cool to be self-reliant with all of my alts and such with professions. But with Pantheon, it's more community-based. It's not a kind of like a solo player type of experience like WoW does a lot. So I think I might be able to put the alts to rest and just focus on my main. But I am planning on a wizard alt because, obviously I played a mage for 15 years. I got to have at least some spell slinging action in Pantheon. So Dire Lord will definitely be my main, and I might do a little bit of alt stuff with a wizard. Crafting, always. I love making my own stuff and being self-reliant, which is why I did the whole alt thing in World of Warcraft. It all depends. I mean, crafting systems are different from game to game, but in the end, they all produce useful items, be it potions or gear or anything like that, or just some useful clickable thing. For me, I always found alchemy to be fascinating, mainly because, well, you can get health potions, mana potions, resource regeneration potions, power boosts and stuff through that. The whole journey of like mixology and stuff is really cool, and it's science-y and stuff, and science is like one of my favorite things, so I typically lean towards alchemy. Anything that gives me stats. Food while I'm gaming, honestly, it's just water. I actually rarely eat whenever I'm gaming. So I always used to just, take a break, go to the kitchen whenever, break time is, there for raids, and I'd probably just grab some crackers or what have you. But very rarely do I actually eat while I'm actively playing. I'll just probably take a sip of water every now and then, stay hydrated. So there you go. It's a tie between video card and mouse, because obviously video cards are what give you those sweet FPSs and frames, makes your game look a lot better. You can run it on ultra stuff and basically take in the entire world at its highest resolution. But then again, the mouse is pretty much the main interactive tool aside from a keyboard. Keyboards are basically keyboards. I mean, you've got all your letters on there, your numbers, your programmable keys. If you get a high-end gaming keyboard, it's pretty much, different. But mice, I mean, you have different optics, different resolutions, you have different configurations. You can have 2-button, 3-button, you can have 12-button, and when you're moving around with, whether it's a RPG or FPS or any other type of game, having quick access with your thumb to many different skills on the mouse is, really convenient. And it goes beyond the typical, configuration on a keyboard that you would typically find. So it's probably become one of the more versatile tools in gaming that not a lot of people realize. So yeah, I'd probably have to say mouse first and video card second. Yeah, I actually have, typically just one profile on my Twitter account, which is JJPiedra. That's PIEDRAOELN. So that is my personal account. It's also my author account, since I Also do some writing. So if you ever want to check out my books, hit up that account. You'll find all the links there. Yeah, if you ever want to follow me, that's where it is, JJPietroOELN on Twitter. I like pollywogs. There you go. Honestly, I actually thought a lot about this, and I am going to put money on Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. And the reason why I'm going very specific with that is because knowing a lot of things about the game design industry, basically I can tell you that a development cycle for an MMORPG is anywhere between 5 to 10 years. Visionary Realms is a rather small team. I would probably lean more towards the 10-year aspect, but after the recent statement from Ben Dean, aka Mikhail, that they have recoded the whole game to give them, faster, development time, better pipelines, and all the other fun stuff, that all they're really missing now are, more key developers being brought on board. And with Pre-Alpha 5 being a kind of like a package to show investors that Ben was talking about, he essentially is probably aiming towards getting more money into the development of the game, which means those people will be brought on pretty soon, which will speed up development. A lot of indicators also say that we're getting close to full alpha. We don't know when that is or when it's coming, but we can tell it's, just from the way things are going, that it is soon-ish, trademark. So if you figure an alpha usually lasts anywhere between 6 months to a year, and a beta typically lasts around 6 months, that's going to bring us to about summer of 2022, once everything's said and done, once Pre-Alpha 5 wraps up. Then, of course, you're going to allow Visionary Realms at least a couple months to maybe analyze all the data, make sure everything that was tested is working properly, everything is polished, and of course you have to, set up the service for distribution. If people are doing physical, which, I don't know, that's weird to say because there's not even disk drives and computers these days, but if there is physical, there's time to produce those and stuff. So I would say October, November would probably be the biggest time release window. And if everything goes according to plan, holidays are right around that time, and the fiscal year is looks really good in that quarter. So from a business perspective, launching in November would probably be the most opportune thing for them to do, all while giving them enough time to go through the development process as need be. So that's my prediction. November 15th, 2022. Circle it, put money on it.